As humans, we are bound to the thing that I call the illusion of infinity, where we are unable to grasp the finite nature of life, to comprehend it properly, especially in the moments when we are very emotional. Our lizard brain takes over and we believe anger will last forever. But forever for now is just this moment. Forever will pass in 5 minutes time, most likely. And we do the same not only with the negative emotions, but also with the good times, with the positive times and emotions, where we become ungrateful of everything we have. And truth be told, everything will stop being one day. You will stop having whatever materialistic possessions you have. You will stop having the relationships you have, and everything will change. Everything leads to entropy. Everyone knows this, and we don't like to think about this, but it brings up a lot of valuable data when it comes to your true authenticity. Now, when the negative moments come, embrace them, stop struggling, because they're a natural tendency, and it's not your fault that you are like this. Every single one of us tends to behave like this, to struggle in it, to want to escape that state, because it's not the most pleasurable one, is it? You feel the pain, you feel the frustration, all of these things that you just want them to end as soon as possible. But by struggling, all you do is prolong the time that will be needed for them to actually go away and pass. Because whatever you resist persists, as Carl Jung said. And when you're in that state, as we established, it's very hard for you to comprehend the fact that it's just a temporary emotion. The Buddhists used to believe that all suffering comes from the idea of infinity, that we are unable to understand that what we have is finite. So then when we realize, when we are hit and slapped in the face by reality, we realize that, oh, it was finite all along and I didn't take advantage of it properly. This is especially for the good things, right? But this is the curse of the negative emotions as well. We struggle against them. We fight against our shadows. We want to avoid them. We want to keep our shadow in the shadows instead of facing it and integrating it in our personalities, in accepting it completely. And where does that lead to? It leads to separation from yourself, separation from your authentic, true tendencies, from who you are meant to be, if we take it to that philosophical level. Now, I'm not really a believer of fate, but if you when you go through these tough times, you could also see it as a step in your transformative journey. Now, I don't really believe in fate and all of these destiny based things, but when you go through these tough times, negative emotions, pain, you could either keep crying and struggling and prolong the pain, or you can embrace it and take a moment to feel it completely and just view it, have a shift in perspective where you start viewing it as a step in your transformative journey. And if you embrace it, you come out on the other side as the next version of you, the 2.0 version of you. Because truth be told, even if you think about the movies, a lot of characters that end up really cool and badass, they go through a lot of adversities and a lot of horrific events even. So how do you think that you will be able to get to the point where you will be the 2.0 version of you, the 100.0 version of you, without experiencing adversities and negative events at all? They're mandatory, they are just a part of life, and truth be told, life is just a series of ups and downs. And even if you think about, let's say, happiness, what's happiness? It's not something that persists, although that's our tendency to think about happiness as something that persists, right? But happiness doesn't persist. It's just basically a peak of dopamine that will just go back down and you will start feeling unfulfilled again. You will start feeling like you're lacking something. And that's pretty much the yin yang of life, yin yang of our emotions as normal human beings, as healthy human beings. That's the way it is. And that's why instead of chasing pleasure, pleasure, pleasure all the time, we have to embrace the negative sensations as well. They are also part of us, they are also part of our journey. And looking back at the times where we've been suffering, it doesn't seem that painful anymore, does it? It's almost like, especially if you went through a delayed gratification process, you remember that time was a really good time, don't you? You don't really remember the struggle and the pain. You remember the win that came after that. So very often negative emotions are just an illusion. Their infinity is the biggest illusion of them all. And it's our mission to be able to comprehend this truth, to integrate it in our lives, and to stop struggling so much. Because at the end of the day, everything is about flow. You know it from your work, you know it from your studies, you know it from playing a sport most likely. Everything is in flow. And sometimes you have to also put in some focus, some manual focus to be in the flow state, to remove all distractions, to push a bit harder for that flow state to be able to happen. But at the same time, you have to let go as well. Let go of all the pressure. So it's a pretty tough balance to achieve, isn't it? Think about it as if you go to the gym, you encounter situations where you want to lift the weight and you want to reach failure, but your body doesn't really want you to reach failure because it kind of hurts. Instead of struggling against the pain of your muscles, you can just embrace it and keep lifting until your arm can't move anymore or whatever muscle group you're training. It's a very good analogy, or even taking a cold shower. When you take a cold shower, you tend to have all of these spasms, like randomly shake like this. You want to get out of there because it is so painful. Stop running away from pain. We tend to run away from this psychological pain so much, yet we manage to endure a lot of physical pain because even if let's say you have a small cut on your finger and it's right at this place, right? So every single time you move it, it's gonna be very hurtful for you. But you won't be like, oh, it hurts so much. You won't be like that every single time. You won't struggle so much every single time. You will just accept it eventually. But then when a bit of negativity knocks at your door internally, you start panicking and you start consuming and being distracted, all of this only to avoid that bit of pain. Like, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it to struggle so much? Or maybe it's just time to let go, to embrace, to understand that this is something normal. You are meant to feel bad from time to time. Negative emotions give you valuable data about yourself. Maybe you're not in a right place in life. Maybe you've taken the wrong path and you start feeling worse and worse and worse because your body is telling you something needs to change. And instead of listening to it, we tend to consume. We tend to numb ourselves down and to hide all of that authenticity back down. Because negative feelings are not good. All we see online is positive, positive, positive. Everyone feels good. No one struggles on social media. Everyone has the best time of their lives. But reality is not like that. We all know it.